Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're going to be taking a look at the White Scars Battleforce box, Storm of Chogoris. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. So we have a new Battleforce out for the White Scars. We're going to take a look at what's inside. Not only the points and what kind of army you can build from it, but what you would want to use to expand onto it. And then also we're going to break down the value inside as well. So let's take a look. Alright, so here are the contents. It's a little light on models. Alright, so right off the bat, we have the Khan on foot. We have a Chaplain on bike. We have two sets of 3 Primaris Outrider bikes. And then we have 2 of the Invader ATVs. So all mounted force with the exception of the Khan, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and break it down and see where we're at. Alright, so the Khan on foot is actually the unique special character, Kor'Sarro Khan, and he is going to come in at 110 points. He is very good, and we're going to talk about the drawbacks of him as well. So his Moonfang weapon is pretty awesome, gives you +2 strength, -3 AP, and a D3 damage. And then against characters, you can re-roll the wound roll, and you can re-roll the damage roll. So he's going to have pretty good output against characters. Now, because he's on foot, he is going to be pretty slow, but he has some pretty awesome abilities as well. His first buffing ability is called For the Khan, and this is unique to him. It's pretty awesome too. White Scars core and White Scars character units within 6 that made a charge move or heroic intervention, etc., add 1 to the attack's wound rolls. So anybody within 6 inches of him, including himself, on the charge or heroic intervention, is going to get +1 to wound. So that's for all core and characters. It's really, really strong and is essentially one of the best like aura abilities that you can have in the game. Because suddenly you're taking anything that has like a +1 strength weapon. So like for instance, his Moonfang weapon with +2 strength is going to be 6 strength. So now if he's attacking anything 5 or lower, he would be wounding on 3s. And then if he charged, he's wounding on 2s. So it makes your output, damage, and wounding abilities substantially higher. And then for him to project that out in an aura makes him very, very good. And then he also has the Rites of Battle ability as well, which is going to give any core units within 6 inches of him reroll hit rolls of 1. And then he has a little Falcon ability. It's not really that good. His Warlord trait is okay. If he kills a character, he gets +1 attack until the end of the game. So overall, though, the key here is his ability to hurt characters and reroll damage with that Moonfang weapon, but really the For the Khan special ability, Aura. Now the main issue with him is his move is only 6, and the rest of the army is moving like 14, 16 inches per turn. So he can still move in advance, but the special ability of White Scars is that everybody can move, advance, and then still charge. So pretty much everything in your army is going to be advancing all the time. So honestly, he's going to have a big problem keeping up. We'll talk a little bit about the other options as well at the end for a mounted Khan. So Kor'Sarro Khan is really, really good. The issue is that with the army that you're getting right here, he's either going to slow everything down or everything's going to kind of leave him behind. But that can be taken care of when we build up the army a little later as you expand onto this. So overall, 110 points for him is great. And then we have the Chaplain on bike. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Chaplains on bikes. They're extremely good, 125 points. It's a great supporting character and buffs nearby units, but also he hits really hard too, and he's easy to get where you need him to be on his bike with his extreme movement, and then also the ability to advance in the White Scars and then charge after that. Pretty awesome. They also have a couple of special abilities we'll go ahead and talk about right now as well. When they're in the combat doctrine, they have devastating charge, which means all their weapons are +1 damage on the turn they charge. So it turns 1 damage weapons into 2 damage, and 3 into 4, etc. So it's very, very strong on the charge in the assault doctrine. And then they also have lightning assault. It gives them sort of like 2 pieces. The first is they can charge after they have advanced or fallen back. So that's really, really strong. It makes everything in the army extra fast because now they get that extra D6 advance, some cases more, and then also the charge. A lot of your units have good shooting and are also good in combat. So if some of your units are still in combat at the end of your opponent's turn, which is likely to happen in this army, on your turn you can then fall back and then charge back into combat, so you gain all of your awesome abilities again. So this is very, very strong. And then finally, if you advance, you can shoot your assault weapons as normal, but without taking the -1 penalty. So the truth is, for these guys, you want as many assault weapons as you can possibly have in your army, and you also want units that shoot and then charge well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but the Chaplain is an excellent choice and plays into all these abilities extremely well. So next we have the 2 units of Outriders. So I have a couple of issues with Outriders. It's no surprise that they're just not that great right now. At 135 points, it's really not bad. The problem is 135 points and they take up one of your fast attack slots, which are very important in this army. And then also you can't actually expand them out to like 5 or 6 man units. They're just locked in straight up at 3. They have no ability to take like a special weapon on the sergeant, and overall they're just mediocre. So my main issue with the Outriders is they take up your precious fast attack slots. You cannot make the squad any bigger. They're just locked in at 3 models. And with the 3 models and no ability to take special weapons or upgraded close combat weapons on the sergeant, they always just kind of fall short for what you want to do. So with the exception of charging in and killing a Gretchen squad or 10 boys, a couple of Imperial Guardsmen or something like that, they're not really going to be able to do enough damage to count. So they take up your important slots. They're fast. They could be really good and they have a lot of potential, but being locked at 3 models is a huge, huge hindrance. So I don't think it's bad to have these in the army, but there's definitely some things that need to change to make Outriders actually good. So the fact that 6 of your 10 models are Outriders is not really a good thing. So on to the Invader ATVs. So these are the 2 ATVs in the back. You could put these both in one unit or have them take up 2 separate slots because they are 1 to 3 per. You can give them either the Gatling cannon, which gives you 8 shots at -1, which is pretty decent, especially when they already have some other guns as well. Or you can give them the multi-melta. I personally like the multi-melta on these things because you can easily get them into position to take some shots at a character or something like that without lookout sir, or potentially at a vehicle that thought it was going to be safe. They're not the most White Scar unit, but honestly they do play pretty well, and they're sort of like the new version of the old school attack bikes. And then you're also going to get some upgrade sprues in this set as well. We're not sure exactly which ones or how many we're going to get, but Games Workshop had mentioned it previously. So when we total this all up, we can get up to about 665 to 700 points. This is by far the least model counts of all the Space Marine boxes, and it's also the least points value as well. So that being said, if you are going to play White Scars, I don't necessarily think this is a bad setup, but the truth is, I think you could probably pick out units that would be better than just getting this box set. I think if you started with a Chaplain on bike and then went from there, you could end up with a better box set than this, taking a million different routes. Now that we know the composition is okay, but it's not necessarily the best, let's take a look at the value. And now a quick message from this week's sponsor. This video is sponsored by CMOgames.com, where you can get 15% off most Games Workshop pre-orders, and they go live right at midnight Saturday mornings. CMOgames.com offers free shipping on orders over $25 in the US 48, and most orders ship within 24 hours. CMOgames.com has been selling Games Workshop products online for more than 20 years, and customer service is their top priority. CMOgames.com carries the full line of Games Workshop products, including 40k, Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warcry, paints, hobbies, and tools. Visit CMOgames.com using the affiliate link in the description below so they know you heard about CMOgames.com from Warhammer Man Studios. Now, back to the video. Alright, so right off the bat, we have the Khan coming in at $42 on foot. We have the Chaplain coming in at $50 on bike. And then we have each of the 3 Outrider squads is $60. The Invaders are $45 each. And then we're not really sure about the upgrades because they haven't been real specific about what comes in the set. And honestly, the upgrade sprues don't make a ton of sense here either. The Outriders don't have the ability to swap out their shoulder pads. They are an easy to build kit. So those shoulder pads kind of go to waste on this. And there's no actual like Gravis armor Marines either. So honestly, with the exception of like a couple heads and some little gribbly bits, the upgrades aren't going to be that important for what comes in this box. So just assuming one of those upgrade sets at $27, the MSRP comes out to $329 for everything in the box set. And the retail price is going to be $210. So it does come in actually with pretty good savings at 36%. And the actual value here is not bad. The problem is there's a couple kind of exceptions to that rule. Like for instance, the Outriders can be purchased at a substantial discount on the third-party market They came in the Indominus boxes, so there's tons of them floating around. They haven't been good in the meta for pretty much ever. And then they also come in the larger starter sets as well. So it's really easy to pick up like 3 Outriders for like $20 or $30. So that's a lot of your savings gone if you're accounting for those costing $60, and you can really get them for about 20 or 30 bucks each. So when we times that out, let's say you pay 25 bucks for each set of 2 Outriders, that's $50, but the box is counting that as $120 in value. So it's sort of skewed on the representation here. Also, the Kor'Sarro Khan is pretty good, but honestly, the strongest unit that you can pretty much make in your White Scars army is a Khan on bike. I had mentioned previously about taking one of the sergeants from the Outriders and then taking the Khan and just kind of cutting them off at the waist and swapping it on so you convert your own bike Captain Khan, because there are actually rules for the bike Captain Khan and they're really good. He doesn't gain the awesome ability, the +1 to wound that the special character has, but you can make him into a chapter master and give a unit close by full chapter master rerolls, which is awesome. And he also has some pretty awesome stuff as well that can really make him a damage dealer. He's still only 110 points for the Khan on bike. He comes with the Khan's Spear, which is a melee weapon with +1 strength, -3 AP, and a D3 damage. Remember, that's going to be +1 while we're in the Assault Doctrine. And also, on the turn in which you charge or perform a heroic intervention, the strength characteristic is ×2 for the attack. So you basically end up with a Power Fist on the charge, which is going to be strength 8, -3 D3 damage, and there's no -1 to hit. So you're going to be hitting on 2s. He comes base with 4 attacks. So on the charge, you're going to be coming in with at least 5 attacks with essentially strength 8, -3, a D3 +1 damage. So very, very strong. And that's only just the beginning. If you upgrade him to the Chapter Master, obviously he gets the Chapter Master rerolls, but he's also equipped with a Buckler as well. So the Buckler gives you +1 to your saving throws made in combat. So when you're fighting in combat, you're going to have +1 to your saving throws, taking him from a 3-up to a 2-up, which is pretty good. But you can start getting a little crazy when you start looking at the relics and warlord traits available to the Chapter Master. So you can get one of the relics called the Angel Artifice, and it gives the bear a save of 2-up and then adds 1 to their wounds and toughness characteristics. So now with the bike's toughness boost, you're going from 5 to 6. You have 6 wounds normally, so you're going to go up to 7. And then on top of that, your bike save is going to go from a 3-up to a 2-up with the special ability. And then the buckler is going to kick in combat and really take your save to a 1-up. And then he comes stock with a 4-up save. So you can make a pretty strong character. And also, if you use the Chapter Master, you can then actually have the Khan on foot as well. So there's definitely some potential to do some kind of conversion or swap like that. You definitely want some kind of core force as well, some kind of foot force to expand on here. So assuming you already have some other Space Marines, or you're going to be picking some up, I think probably something like Incursor Infiltrators or some Intercessors would be a good idea. Another really strong unit that you could add to the force would be Aggressors, because they have a lot of assault weapons that are good for shooting, and then the ability to deal quite a bit of damage on the charge as well. They're a little bit slow with 5 movement, but being able to advance and shoot with no penalties, or advance, shoot, and charge, really, really strong. So overall, I don't love the composition of this box set, but it does come with 2 important characters, Kor'Sarro Khan and the Chaplain. If you don't already have some of the Outriders, this is cool, but to tell you the truth, because they're available so cheap aftermarket, it really takes a lot of the oomph out of this box set. And the Invaders are good, but I'm not sure that they are necessarily the ideal units for this army. I gotta say, this box set is okay. If you don't have any of the units in it and you want to play White Scars, I don't think it's necessarily a bad place to start, but right off the bat, you're probably going to be having some difficulties until you expand the force at least a little bit. I do like this set, and it is a good deal at 36% off, but to tell you the truth, if I was building a White Scars force, this is not how I would start it. If you are a White Scars player, please share down below what's like some of your MVP units. Do you have some cool combos or anything? Any recommendations for what you would start off with or what you would expand this force with? One real nice benefit of this force is it doesn't really have anything else that overlaps with what comes in the combat patrols. So if you were going to expand onto one of the other box sets, this actually would go pretty nicely and have very little or no overlap. So let me know what you think down below. Always like to hear back from you guys. If you found this video useful and you're going to be starting some White Scars, please let me know in the comments section. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios with our White Scars Army Box breakdown, and I'm out of here.